I'm David Stratton, and I'm talking about A Quiet Passion. British director Terence Davies makes films about families, usually dysfunctional families. No one who saw Distant Voices Still Lives is likely to forget his portrayal of a violent father and his long-suffering wife. The only kind of brutality in his latest film, A Quiet Passion, is of the mental kind. This is a portrait of the American poet Emily Dickinson, 1830 to 1886, who's considered, along with Walt Whitman, to be America's greatest poet. And Davies' insights into her troubled life make for a challenging but ultimately rewarding exercise in screen biography. Apart from a brief period in which she was a live-in student at Mount Holyoke Female Seminary, Dickinson lived her entire life in her family home at Amherst, Massachusetts. Beautifully portrayed in the film by Cynthia Nixon, Emily is a woman who, though she reacts against the restrictions that were directed against members of her sex at the time, is unable to do very much about it, except to write her poetry, little of which was published in her lifetime. Davies' screenplay for the film, using unnamed sources, shows her as a witty, well-read, inquiring woman whose spirit is gradually crushed. Her father, played by an almost unrecognizable Keith Carradine, a long way from the sorts of characters he played in the past. Remember him in Nashville? He is tolerant with her. He gives her permission to write her poetry in the middle of the night when she can be undisturbed, and he encourages her to find a publisher for her work, though the editor of the Springfield Republican, the local newspaper, tells her that women cannot create the permanent treasures of literature. Emily's greatest ally is her sister Lavinia, Jennifer Ale, usually known as Vinnie, a placid woman who sees the best in everyone, but who frequently chides her sister for her inflexibility and rudeness. Their brother Austin, Duncan Duff, marries Susan Gilbert, Jodie May, who becomes, in effect, another sister for Emily, who is later outraged when she believes Austin is cheating on her. Emily also becomes close to Vryling Buffum, Catherine Bailey, another free spirit.
Will you go with us to church, Miss Buffum?
Of course not. Going to church is like going to Boston. You only enjoy it after you've gotten home.
We are to pray for the repose of our late pastor's soul.
Doesn't that rather depend on where it's gone?
We shall become fast friends.
Of course we shall. I'm irresistible. Everyone says so. When the new pastor does arrive, you must point him out to me.
So that you too may be saved.
No. So that I will know whom to avoid.
Terence Davies has filled A Quiet Passion with conversations that take place within the family or between Emily and her closest friends, conversations rich with epigrams and aphorisms. This makes for some very amusing sequences, but the mood darkens in the second half of the film, when it becomes clear that Emily will not be recognized in her lifetime. After the death of her father, she retreats into a self-imposed seclusion, wearing only white and treating just about everyone who tries to connect with her with disdain. She's also unwell. She's diagnosed with the incurable Bright's disease. Davies doesn't shrink from the challenges this darkened mood poses for the audience. Emily is not a feminist destined to triumph like Sibylla in My Brilliant Career. Hers will be a less happy destiny. But A Quiet Passion is a memorable film with a memorable performance, and I'm giving it 4 stars.